And what's happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. And it is Monday, guys. Apologies there for not actually fixing the title. I was a bit delayed getting up in line. Fucking family have me running around doing other bits and pieces, but I managed to get here like 5 minutes, 5 minutes after the old 420, guys. I see the comments outside there as well, guys. Much appreciated for hanging around for me. Apologies for being late for 420. But it is Monday after all, lads. I'm sure you'll forgive me. You are an amazing community of people out there in the cannabis community, guys. So much love to you all. Welcome along anyway. I hope you all had a good weekend. Who do I see out there? Kitmore, Hype TCK, what's going on? Podge, Daily Toker, Peter, Pods, Mustawes, Sorenable, what's going on, guys? Hope you're all having a good old Monday for you. Mine has been nice and busy, nice and productive. So it's always good to report a nice productive Monday. Happy days. And guys, before we get stuck any further into the 420 news, as always, just like to take a moment to thank R420 Supplies. Go over and check them out. R420.ie is their website for all your accessory needs. They got skins, blunts, bongs, like you name it, they got it. And if they don't got it, I'm sure they'll go out of their way to get it for you. They got some real cool street apparel, obviously cannabis themed there as well. So definitely do go and check them out. They're based above in Port Arlington. I believe they're 2 weeks open today now, so happy 2 week anniversary. Opening day celebrations, 2 weeks, a milestone. So yeah, thanks again to r420.ie. At least you're not muted. I was actually checking once or twice there to see if I was muted. Yeah, nice one, Podge. What's going on out there? Alter Ego as well. I see Alter Ego joining in the session as well here on 420 News. Um, Also in other news, guys, the 420 kilometer challenge. Well, it is now complete pretty much. I actually missed out there yesterday on going out for my run because we ended up going down to West Cork. We were down on, we went down to Garnish, the Garnish Island, I think it was called, over to that little tropical garden. Had a lovely day out with the family and stuff. We got back then at about 7 or 8 last night. I ended up having some Thai food, some lovely massman curry. So I didn't get out for my run. So sadly, I failed on day 30. But it's the 31st of May. So I suppose this was a challenge for the month of May. So I'll get it done there later on this evening. No excuses, you know what I mean? I'll be very honest, I did miss yesterday, but it was the only day that I kind of let the guard down, and it was some lovely day out there yesterday. Like, the sun just really took it out of me, and then the food afterwards then kind of threw me into a bit of a food coma. But yeah, much needed. Like, got a good night's sleep last night after that, so feeling much refreshed today. And after a bowl or two there now shortly, we'll take to the roads. We'll get 14 kilometers done to wrap up the challenge. I was actually considering maybe doing a marathon, just go out there and run 42.0 kilometers this evening. Who knows? Let's see how we feel after today's show. I fucking get these crazy ideas, and sometimes, I might actually execute them. So again, guys, thanks very much to everybody who's after supporting the fundraiser so far. All of the funds that have been raised will go towards the Laurelin Children's Hospice. I believe we've over €800 raised there now so far. Maybe tipping on €900 for the Laurelin Children's Hospice. So again, thanks very much, guys. Thanks very much to everybody who has liked, shared, and spread the word of the campaign there too. Much appreciated to each and every one of you guys. I wouldn't have been able to get it as far as I did without you. So yeah, much appreciated for your support, guys. And again, as always with this, it was as part of this campaign, 420 kilometers. It was to raise awareness as to the needs of access to medical cannabis. So that also was a part of the campaign, and yeah, we continue to do that as well. Even after this 30-day campaign is over, we're going to continue to bang that drum as hard as we bloody can, keep making as much noise as we can. We need to end this prohibition around cannabis in order to get the most effective access to it as a medicine for the patients out there. The patients should be free are free to access cannabis without any of the stigma that's currently attached to it because of it being prohibited and seen as an illegal drug. Taking something that's an illegal drug as a medicine could be quite counterintuitive to a person's mind. So therefore, that remains a large barrier in place. And I suppose in saying that, then, you know, there's and I'll jump ahead to one of the headlines of today's 420 news, because it ties into something I was talking about on Friday's 420 news, which was that coming out of Canada, it was out of the University of Alberta. They showed that cannabis was an effective way in which to reduce a person's reliance on opioids. So over in America and Canada and places like that, even in the UK, there seems to be what's been described as an opioid crisis, where there's people being prescribed opioids for pain, and they become addicted then to the medication. They need to keep up titrating their doses, which could lead to overdoses, and which could be fatal. Could take their lives, and that's quite a dangerous situation to be in. And a lot of these patients don't ask to be there. Nobody wakes up in the morning and asks to be suffering with chronic pain. And because of prohibition, they don't have much choice in the pain management there. But again, you know, coming out of Alberta last week, as I talked about, the data there showing that cannabis was very effective at reducing the reliance on opioids. The UK is also coming out with the same data to match that. So it's just reinforcing now that cannabis is, yes, it is a very legitimate source of pain management for people who suffer with chronic pain. Now, the numbers out of the UK, it's estimated that over 40% of the UK population suffer with chronic pain. Now, I'd imagine that's the adult population. I'm not too sure to be exact on that. But a massive number of patients. And then through the medical cannabis clinics, which is released the data, they surveyed hundreds of patients that have been prescribed medical cannabis to treat pain. And that revealed that 86% of the patients that took medical cannabis found it to be more than effective than the other medications they had previously taken. 86%, like that's a large majority of the patients there who found the cannabis to be more effective than other medications they'd been taking previously to that. Absolutely crazy. And still today in Ireland, the use of medical cannabis under the Medical Cannabis Access Programme has not included chronic pain. Horrible to think. Probably one of the most studied are examined, you know, and it's the most evidence there as well as to support its use as a pain management tool, and it's denied to the patients here in Ireland, while literally just across the border above in the north, I'm sure the lads can even be prescribed this under the private prescriptions. You know, literally a magical line above there up on our own island here, and people across that line are being able to be prescribed this by clinicians, while here in the south of the border down in the Republic of Ireland, we're forced to either go to the minister for an exemption through our consultants, which is incredibly burdensome and problematic, because many consultants are unwilling to even prescribe or try to apply for the license for their patient. It's horrible. Some actual hospitals have policies in place which see it that the consultants have their hand tied. They're not even allowed to apply, even if they wanted to, because it's the hospital's policy in which they operate in. Horrible. Medical cannabis was legalized in the UK in November 2018, but access is still quite limited over there. You know, even when I was talking there last week with Karen Gray over in Scotland, and you know, she has to continue to raise over £1,000. I think it's £1,300 she has to raise every month to get access to medical cannabis for her son, who has a severe type of epilepsy, which is again medicine or treatment resistant. And she has to fork out that, but if her son was to get the other anti-epileptic drugs, they would pay for it. So again, there's still massive barriers in place, massive stigma in place, massive discrimination going on because of the form of medicine these patients are looking for. Horrible to think, but Dr. Sunny Nai, the medical director of the medical cannabis clinics and the leading UK medical cannabis pain specialist, she said that medical cannabis has been unfairly stigmatized for decades, but recent advances and the success we have seen firsthand in the clinics have allowed us to reconsider this once disregarded treatment option. They went on to say that existing treatments for both chronic pain and opioid addiction carry their own risks, which has led experts to consider alternatives and research how medical cannabis works in the body. Early data that we are seeing in our clinic supports the use of medical cannabis to manage chronic pain and allows patients to safely reduce opioid intake. We continue to be excited about the ongoing research into how medical cannabis can support patients with opioid dependency and improve their symptoms. The data from the medical cannabis clinic survey further showed that 90% of the patients reported that medical cannabis had a positive impact on their life, and 93% either had recommended or would recommend the treatment to others with the condition. How many other medicines out there have those kind of numbers, where the medicine has been overwhelmingly positive for the patients, where 93% of the patients would recommend the treatment to others with their condition? I would imagine with some of the drugs that are out there, as Matt Irvine would say here, he's a patient at the medical cannabis clinics, and he said that his life has been severely impacted by his chronic pain. He said he could work, he said he couldn't work, he couldn't wash or dress himself properly, and he couldn't do his chores. So his mental health suffered as a result. He was prescribed opioids, but they put him in a zombie-like state, and he was useless throughout the year. Medical cannabis has given him some control back into his life, and his depression and anxiety has practically disappeared. He says, I'm now relieved that I can now focus on living my life and feel more like a normal, healthy person again. And that's just one of the patients there from the medical cannabis clinics in the UK. How many people in Ireland are currently being prescribed these opioids who don't have an effective avenue in which they can access medical cannabis? It's in thousands, tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of patients out there currently suffering needlessly. Many of them, maybe having their pain treated effectively, but having to sacrifice in other areas then, while their pain might be reduced, they're now feeling like zombies, unable to actually get up and do things, or maybe when they do things, they're a bit forgetful or, a bit slower. Who knows? Cannabis, while, again, it can be very beneficial for people when it's given to them under the direction of a well-informed person, rather than going down to the street corner, getting a 50 bag there off the local dealer and going home trying to treat your chronic pain. You don't know what strain you've gotten. You don't know like where it was even grown or anything like that. Horrible, man. Horrible. Ireland put in place a medical cannabis access program. When was it? In 2016, I believe it was. It was quite a while ago anyway. And still, it was 2018, I think it actually was. It was put in place. Put the funds in place for it. And still nobody has actually gotten access through it, to the best of my knowledge anyway. They didn't even include chronic pain in the medical cannabis access program. Now, through this program, it was supposed to be a 5-year pilot program where they were supposed to be carrying out studies and research, gathering feedback from patients through the prescription of cannabis for their condition, so that they could to further understand how cannabis works. They've done nothing. We're 3 years down the road from the medical cannabis access program being put in place and started. And as I said, only 6 months ago, however long ago that was, they put the funding in place for it finally, after it being supposed to be in operational for over 3 years. These people are scumbags, honestly. I just think that there's a severe incompetence up there in our government when it comes to this, and there's nobody held responsible. Like, if there's a person out there now in the morning who could be prescribed medical cannabis, suffers a seizure and dies as a result, where's that person's family's comeback? My fucking Johnny or my Sarah or whatever, suffered a seizure there this morning and they died. We were in the process of trying to get access to medical cannabis for the last number of months, and we couldn't do it because our consultant with this hospital won't apply for the ministerial exemption. And sure, the medical cannabis access program, we all know the state that's actually in. 4 products only available through the medical cannabis access program. 4. That's crazy. Whereas the people with the medical cannabis license, the exemption, they can get access to a further range of products, but still quite limited as well. Many of them going for the Bedrocan option. But again, shaming the government. But for us, the people, I suppose, this is a wake-up call, guys. We really need to get out there and make noise. The summer is at our feet now, you know. Let's get out there and make some noise. Let's not waste this opportunity. Every day that goes by that we're not out there making noise is a wasted opportunity, and it's a day that these patients are suffering needlessly also. So, you know, all you well-abled, healthy people out there, get out and fight to end cannabis prohibition, if not for yourself or the patients out there sick and suffering because of it. It's horrible. All of this because of cannabis prohibition. All to stop me or you getting a little bit of cannabis. And I have some cannabis here. Prohibition has not stopped me getting access to cannabis. But who it does stop getting access to cannabis is people like Ava, Vera's daughter. You know, for how many years was she suffering seizures that are now under control in some sense of the word, thanks to cannabis medicines. Do you know? How many children out there do not have the same access? Do you know how many people out there do not have the same access? While, you know, the law has not done its job and prevented me getting access to it. Like, you know, I still have a hair in my grinder. My body's still able to grow a couple of plants and sort out myself and one or two other buddies. Like, you know, we do our part to cut ourselves out from the black market. We don't want to be supporting the organised crime gangs who makes hundreds of thousands out there, or hundreds of thousands, millions they're fucking making out there from our community. So I don't want to participate in that black market. So I support a small little tight-knit group where we have a grower who grows a bit of cannabis to a couple of friends, and he's rather consistent in doing it too. You know, from time to time now there'll be a drop in supply because, you know, a plant took a week longer to finish, but I don't mind. I really don't mind, and I encourage more people to get out there, guys. That's probably the best way you can protest this fucking law, is by growing your own cannabis and supporting a couple of friends, making a nice little tight-knit group of communities. If my body was to get raided in the morning, I guarantee I'll be down outside of that courthouse. If any of you were to get raided out there, guys, and if you said to me, Martin, will you come down and hold a protest outside of the court for me? Will you support me? Can I come on the podcast and share your story? Guys, I've got your back. And I hope you all got my back out there. We're all in this together. Like, we have to look out for one another. Like, none of it, we can't let this divide and conquer defeat us, because that's what's been going on for so long. We've all been divided. We've all been fearful of one another, fearful that the guy over there will rat you, you know, if he knows you're doing it, whatever. So we've to put all that stuff behind us now and stand up for what is right and come out and fight to end this fucking silly prohibition, because, as I say, it's not preventing me access, but it is preventing the patients out there access. And that's shameful. That's sinful. Got me later. Me torch of freedom at already. and me tool of prohibition, or me tool of protest, sorry. I'm not going to blow it at the camera. I was told not to do it last week, so I won't do it. It messes with the green screen anyway, so. Guys, let's get stuck into more news out there, and much appreciated, guys, for all your comments, guys. I see Daily Toker after joining the conversation out there as well. Any other people out there? Finn, what's going on, Finn? What's happening? Other new faces into the conversation. WRT Gunner, what's going on? And Joe Hartnett as well. Joe Hartnett saying here, at Martin's World, I could smell plenty of civil disobedience in Galway this weekend. Stopped into Little Collins to show support, and all the guys working in the all the guys working in there are lovely, and the coffee is fab. Delighted to hear that. Shout out to everybody up in Little Collins, and nice one there for that, Joe. Good to hear that the smell was well in Galway. Hype TCK, what's going on out there as well? And Dave O'Leary as well. Welcome along, Dave. So that's all the new faces. Cookie Monster as well. I see Cookie Monster popping up there as well. He says, yo, Nottingham, Robin Hood country. What's going on out there in Nottingham? Hope you're doing good. So guys, we'll boogie on with the rest of the 420 news, because in the next one, I suppose, while we go from the UK, we head back to Ireland, where the Green Party were back in the media there recently, um, giving their piece about cannabis and cannabis legalization. They were, I suppose, that they're in government, like they're a part of the government now currently, and they have they had an opportunity to walk away from the government going back, I suppose, but when the government was forming, but they didn't. They put out there, it was a part of their manifesto, to have cannabis legalized. They talked about it to be regulated, much like coffee shops in Amsterdam, which I suppose I found to kind of be problematic myself, actually, because I don't really support that model myself. I think it's problematic because cannabis is still illegal under that model. But still, nonetheless, they had an opportunity at that stage, you know what I mean? Because Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, they needed the Green Party. They could not form a government without the Green Party. The Green Party could have said, look, cannabis, if you have to take us, and you have to take us with this on the agenda, to sort out this issue with cannabis. Man, the Green Party were no more attached to that. Like, literally, like, it took nothing. The Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael were like, you know what I mean, if you want to get into government with us, we're not going to talk about legalising cannabis, and they were grand with that, I think that there was cannabis off the table with in government formation talks. That was the headline. I think that was Green rejects proposals legalize drugs. Yeah, this was the one. It was up in the Irish Post here, and this is from like just last summer there, after our election, as the government were struggling to get a government formed, they needed a Green Party, and they put it out there, and they were just like, nah, man, they just shut it down. The Green Party representative hit out a drug prohibition in Ireland, describing the current government policy as stupid and counterproductive. However, it's not stupid enough, do you know what I mean, that they weren't willing to get into government with the people who keep it in place. The very same people they're calling stupid. So the Green Party, and I suppose also was it not too long ago there that Eamon Ryan said that Ireland not ready for cannabis legalization. Like, Ireland not ready to legalize cannabis, like that like claims Eamon Ryan, But despite all this, like, do you know what I mean? How quickly, like, and do you know what? Why? Do you know why we see the change that we see now, which is, cannabis is a health, not a criminal matter, and whatever. Do you know what I mean? They're getting vocal now about it. Is because basically there's an election coming. There's a by-election coming. And it's to happen maybe in the next 6 to 8 weeks, possibly July, August election above there in the Dublin South Bay. I've gotten one person has gotten in contact with me who's going to be a pro-cannabis candidate and is a first-timer too, who will run in that election. But this is why the Green Party are coming out in favour of this right now and being somewhat vocal. While it is welcome, it's great, but guys, do not be fooled by this. If there's an election above there in Dublin South Bay, like, don't be giving the Green Party your number one because of this. Like, don't be fooled about this. This is just all tactics. But like, this is what you want from the Green Party. I had to say, I'm not too sure what's her name. Is it Nessa Horrigan?
Hi. In the last few weeks, I've received quite a few emails about cannabis.
I'd imagine you have.
And I wanted to take a minute to set out the Green Party position on cannabis use and what we secured in the programme for government and what we might see in the next few months. The Green Party position on non-medical cannabis is as follows. Cannabis use remains widespread despite law enforcement efforts, and it places a considerable strain on our criminal justice system. It's an illegal product, and therefore there's no quality control for cannabis. This represents a potential public health risk because we don't know what cannabinoid levels or contaminants are in the products that people are imbibing. Currently, it's not actually possible to gather any reliable data on the health impacts of cannabis itself in Ireland because it remains illegal. We believe that cannabis is actually a health issue rather than a criminal matter, and regulating the
So I suppose it's important to say, like, everything she stated up until right there, where she said "we believe," she was just basically stating facts. She was just stating facts. Like, somebody messaged me on this and saying, like, maybe this one is watching Martin's World, because some of the stuff that she's saying here is pretty much what I've been saying over the last number of over a year now. Actually, like, geez, I missed my own anniversary there for the launch of this show. I think 420 News actually came a little bit later on. But still, nonetheless, Martin's World is now over a year old, and I've been banging this fucking drum. So she's been hitting on this, and now she's talking about the last one, which is actually the position now of the Green Party, where they're on about it being it should be a health issue rather than a criminal matter, and regulating the cultivation and consumption.
Cultivation of cannabis would be a far more effective means of disrupting the criminal supply chain, minimizing the health risks, and monitoring the impact of cannabis use.
Like, if they really believe that, like, why were they so willing to leave it go? They left it go for the Citizens Assembly. That's what they sold it back to their voter base on. You know, hey, we didn't really fold on this. You know, we got the old Citizens Assembly. Well, it's been over a year now since the government have formed, and we still haven't got a date for that Citizens Assembly. You know, by the time they announce the Citizens Assembly, you know, there'll be another year gone by. Absolutely ridiculous. But just don't be fooled by any of this crap here that she's spinning.
So our policy is this: make cannabis a Schedule 4 drug. So it's
Bullshit. Why are they making it a Schedule 4 drug? Where's alcohol? Is alcohol Schedule 4? No, it's not. Alcohol is not a Schedule 4 drug. Now, when she says here, make cannabis a Schedule 4 drug, cannabis is a fucking plant. It's a plant. Like, you don't make cannabis a Schedule 4 drug because it is a plant. Now, if you want to make THC a Schedule 4 drug, or any other cannabinoid for that reason, then by all means, go ahead. You can put it in there as a Schedule 4 drug. But there, like, you cannot interfere with the plant. Like, that's actually ridiculous. Like, to put the plant in there as a Schedule 4 drug. Like, and you don't even have alcohol in there then. Like, that's so fucking backwards.
It's still a controlled drug, but with fewer restrictions. Remove the criminal offence for possession of less than 5 grams of cannabis.
And this, 5 grams, like, where are they going with 5 grams? Remove a criminal offence for possession of 5 grams. So if you have 6 grams, you have a criminal offence. If you have 7 grams, like, what in the name of God, like, kind of nonsense are they talking about, like?
Regulate cannabis coffee shops and their cultivation.
Like, cannabis coffee shops. Like, did they not see there only not too long ago, like, or no, that was in Gino Kenny's bill. I think there was something in there about the selling of cannabis with caffeine. So actually I'm crossing my bloody wires there on that one. But, like, right, regulate cannabis coffee shops. Like, okay, why are we going to the Dutch model again? Like, why is it not just regulate cannabis retail outlets? Like, regulate cannabis venues? Like, I'm not too sure. Why coffee shops? Like, unless you're looking at the Dutch model, which, again, like, it's corrupt. It's a corrupt bloody model. They're only putting in place now a monopoly system over in Holland as it is. It's bloody run by biker gangs and all sorts of bloody crazy gangs over there for the last, I don't know, a number of decades, like, because, again, cannabis is illegal over there. Did the cannabis just magically appears out of nowhere into the coffee shops? Great model to be promoting here, like. Bloody scumbags these people are, like.
And include harm reduction safeguards and mechanisms in any legislation. Access to medical cannabis is really a separate issue and features in the programme for government in separate bullet points. In the programme for government, we were able to secure a commitment to convene a citizens' assembly to consider matters relating to drug use, which would include cannabis. The Citizens' Assembly work schedule was somewhat delayed by COVID, and the Taoiseach's department is working out a timetable for upcoming assemblies on a number of topics, including drugs. And
like, how is a Citizens' Assembly delayed because of COVID? But you see the work going on there by the Gardai over the last year. Like, was the raids, the drug raids at all hampered? Why was there no slowdown in that? Like, do you know what I mean? There was business as usual for our Gardaí. But meanwhile, our government, of course, like, no, COVID, lads, we've slowed down there now. Oh, geez, lads, Citizens' Assembly, oh, we don't have time for that there now, lads. COVID, lads, in all fairness. Come on, like, oh my God, how much was actually seized in the last year? They say that the value has gone up by over 40% or something like that. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, and oh yeah, COVID, lads, we can't be doing a citizens' assembly there because, geez, God forbid we had a bit of democracy in this country. It's more control the government want. We don't want the people to be having these meetings and assemblies and giving us our opinions. That's not important at all.
And obviously for us, the Drug Citizens Assembly would be a huge priority that we hope to see very, very soon. I know there are lots of people.
Very, very soon. Why after a year of being in government are you only talking about this now? With the people out there crying out for this, like literally calling out for this for the last year, and only now, again, an election coming up, ye stinky feckers, like. But like only an election would make these fellas come out from underneath the rocks and talk about something like this, because they know there's a lot of support out there for this, and Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are unwilling to come and swoop up those voters that were willing to vote for somebody who's seen to be pro-cannabis.
Who are dissatisfied with the speed of progress on this. I would be one of them, and I would have preferred more direct action from the Department of Justice and Health, one that is based on evidence and best practice.
Evidence. Let's talk about evidence. Produce a single bit of evidence to date where you've gone and questioned Frank Fionn or any of the other ministers in charge about, say, cannabis prohibition or about the Citizens' Assembly. Do please, Nessa, produce this evidence if you would. I would love to see, you know, what letters you've been sending to Frank Fionn about sorting out what the Green Party called stupid and under or counterproductive measures. You know, produce that evidence to me, please.
And what's good for everybody. But I recognise that the Citizens' Assembly is a viable route for legislative reform and a way of bringing the community with us. If you want to take action, let ministers and the Department of Health know that you would like to see the Citizens' Assembly on drugs progressed. Let the Department of Taoiseach know that you think it's important and that we would like that Citizens' Assembly now.
So again, like, you know, as I say, she's only speaking up here because the vote coming up, that's my only reason. I think that they're looking out there for voters. They're looking to get the support of the young people again, and they think they can fool them by, oh, look, we'll come out as being like, oh, nice and pro-drugs, like 5 fucking grams. In all fairness, like, no talk then about spent convictions, no talk about righting the wrongs of prohibition, about the people like myself whose lives you fucking ruined with your need for forcing your abstinence-based policies on people. Why in the name of God did you see it fit to put the Gardaí after people like myself at a young age, like, you know, giving the powers to the Gardaí to stop and search young people for a bit of bloody cannabis? Do you not know what harm you're doing to the young people? Like, but if I get caught with alcohol, you just bring me home to my mum and dad. No criminal conviction. That was grand. Spin in the back of the guard's car, going back home there now, and the guards will knock at the door and say, come here, we caught Martin there doing a bit of drinking. Just make sure, you know, keep him out of trouble there now and tell him not to be drinking anymore. Or if he's going to be drinking, stay home at you where it's legal to do it. But with cannabis, Jesus, if we're going to have even a form of legalization now, I seen in a bill there that I was in Luke Meath Flanagan's, like, he was still criminalising it on people under 18. You would get a criminal conviction under 18 if you were caught with cannabis. What in the name of God are we talking about, like? Still criminal sanctions there, obviously, if you're under 18, you know, you get your slate cleaned, I think, or something like that once you turn 18. I don't think that shit carries with you, but look, backwards. Just don't be fooled by the Green Party and their stuff. Like, look out for independent candidates come election time above there in the Dublin South Bay. Get your voice out there, guys. And look, as I said, I had one person out get in touch who said they're going to run in that election. I would love to hear from more people and work together. You know, you might come from different areas. All of you work together, find out what common grounds you have. Where you're missing out, you know, areas you're missing out on, how you can strengthen each other, and then go out and run as a group of independents running in a by-election and look for 1, 2s and 3s, like, right across the board. And who knows, like, you could do something amazing. Like, we have to take the country back from these scumbags. Like, our country has been taken away and it's been chopped up and sold up by these man, scumbags in charge. Like, that's all they are, gangsters in suits. How long have we been looking for a legislative change in our drug policy? And look how many lives have been lost over the years. Like, these guys are responsible for the needless thousands of deaths. people dying from contaminated drug samples when we could have taken a more compassionate approach, put in place like heroin-assisted therapies like they have over in places like Switzerland. And we could have just provided for people who wanted to consume cocaine, and actually showing, look, we can be more, we can be adults here. We can allow our citizens to engage in drug use, and they can be responsible about it, because we'll educate them. We'll put harm reduction in place, all of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But look, anyway, we won't get stuck on that anymore, because just the Green Party, man. I had a little bit of faith in them. I did, and Oliver Moran here, the local candidate in the Green Party, like he's a good guy, he's a nice guy, but at the same time he's stuck to a bloody party. Like, and when you're part of the party, well, unfortunately, it's actually Eamon Ryan who's steering the ship. And he was probably under the control of a bunch of, I don't know, donators or outside interests anyway, like something outside of himself again. You just don't know how deep these fucking parties actually are, and who's in the background of them all. I just hate the party system. I'm an independent man myself, like, sorry. But we drive on with the news anyway, guys, because outside of the Green Party and them coming out now and supporting this, in Ireland we had quite a bit of cannabis seized over the weekend. Over €2 million worth of cannabis, to be exact. There was in Limerick, 8 people were arrested after almost €1 million worth of cannabis was seized. They're saying €900,000 worth. So that's what's that? Jeez, for every 1,005. Jeez, every 100,000 is 5. So is that 48 kilos? 48 kilos of cannabis they're after finding above there. If my maths is right. But anyhow, look, jeez, that ball is after kicking in. But look, it was 8 people arrested above there in Limerick, almost €1 million worth of cannabis. Again, a waste of time of our Gardaí. We've 8 people now in custody that have to be looked after, fed, that to be moved around the place. The judges have to be brought to the court, solicitors appointed, free legal aid most likely given. Crazy to think like how much money is actually being wasted here in this silly war on drugs. The 8 people included a woman in her 40s, a man in his 70s also, and it followed the searches across which county in Limerick City. The youngest of them was aged in his 20s. A Garda spokesman said the operation represents the ongoing investigations into drug distribution networks in the Midwest. The group are currently detained under Section 2 of the Criminal Drug Trafficking Act of 1996. Across a number of Garda stations in Limerick. Crazy, like, I look at how much cannabis is actually there, and it's going to be all destroyed now. There could have been like slap 23% tax on that, like, and you're talking about over 100 grand there, over 200 grand actually, I'd say nearly, for our tax uses, to be put into schools, to be fixing potholes. But we could be doing so much fucking better, but instead, no, we have our Gardaí going out there arresting 8 people, bringing them into custody, wasting their own time, wasting taxpayers' money, and it's just a system of waste and perpetuates from there on out. We really need to change this. Imagine the jobs that we could have created. 8 people employed there, you know what I mean, paying income tax. I'd imagine maybe those 8 people were probably on the social welfare, probably, potentially. Because look, when they're working as drug dealers, sure, you're paying no taxes, sure, you might as well go on the dole. Happy days, like, get the dole, sure, you might even qualify for disability there and get the old free travel. And then just start banging out the old cocaine, man, and you're off on 22 holidays a year or something like that, like, because life is sweet for drug dealers. They say the life of crime doesn't pay, but in fairness, like, does it what? The fucking criminals out there are making dash, like, you know what I mean? It's shit when they get caught. But how many of them are actually getting caught, like? And when they get caught then, like, what are they doing? About 2 or 3 years they're above in prison, and they get out then on good behaviour and shit like that. It's a silly system. Like, we need to change it, because it's only after creating nothing but pain and suffering. Prohibition, that's all it produces, pain and suffering. They talk about that's what drug dealers sell in our communities. It's pain and suffering, the peddlers of debt, the peddlers of misery, as some judges have labelled drug dealers. But in fairness, like, that's what prohibition brings us. Prohibition brings us drugs, drugs that are controlled by criminal gangs, that perpetuate then the suffering and misery out there. Whereas if we had a controlled, regulated system where we could educate people how to use these drugs more responsibly, and to be able to identify when they develop addictions and things like that, if they do occur, that would be a much more sensible way of doing things. But look, sure, I'm just a guy who smokes some cannabis, and sure, I talk no sense at all. Get another bowl ready, and we'll drive on with the news. Because as I say, while 900,000 worth of cannabis was seized in Limerick, there was also 1.35 million worth seized in County Meath. So this was above in County Meath after the Gardaí carried out a raid above there. And you see it pictured here again, like a massive amount of cannabis seized above there. This one would include, would it be 28 kilos of cannabis, like somewhere in that region, like 28? No, not 28, 78 kilos of cannabis. So quite a bit of cannabis again, 78 kilos of cannabis. Only a small drop in the ocean of what actually comes into Ireland every day, I'd imagine. Because as I said, that there is no shortage of cannabis out there. I know people. I only got a message a while ago, actually, just randomly on Facebook off of a dude who I know, and he's like, Martin, if anybody's getting on you there on the podcast, he goes, give them my number, if they're looking for stuff. and in fairness, like, he's a nice guy and everything, but like, I don't know where he's getting his cannabis from. He could be getting it from anywhere, like. And I can't be sending people to anybody, like, and doing the middleman and shit like that. Like, sorry, like, and I mean nothing bad by it. But, like, I could send people to you, and, like, and here I am talking about, like, the importance of growing your own and knowing your source. And meanwhile, where are you getting it from? Like, what strain do you have? Like, if I was to ask those questions, I know you'd probably be unable to provide the answers, like, but still, I just wouldn't be willing to engage in that unless somebody was to say, hey, look, I grow my own cannabis, look, and this is my page, and look, here's a sample, and look, this is a video of my growing shit like that. Then maybe I would be a bit more willing to participate. And I know I'm a bit of a hypocrite in that, because I've mentioned a couple of pages here on the show before, pages like Godfather Meds and Weedy Wonka. I have no affiliation at all to these guys, but I see them operating away there on bloody Instagram, and they've been operating away, and I've not heard any complaints against them. So when people get in touch, I'm like, look, these guys seem to be operating away, and nobody's complained about them. They're not ripping people off from what I can see. The prices are definitely on the higher side of things, but at the same time, look, it's kind of the going rate as well. They're not, as I said, they're not really ripping people off. It's what people are getting out there for it now. And the same with the Weedy Wonka, it seemed like legit. But again, I don't know who the fuck is behind these. Like, that could be the UVA or the IRA, you know what I mean, or any other kind of criminal organisation out there. And I really don't know. So I am a bit of a hypocrite in that sense. I have mentioned those people before. Guys, grow your own fucking cannabis, like, you know, and stop trying to make a pile of money selling it and shit like that. Like seriously, just grow your own, have your own supply, be able to look after a few buddies, cover the cost of production. If you got a little bit of extra pocket money there at the end of the harvest, then happy bloody days. Like, I know myself that when I was working in the grow shops, people who used to do a bit of growing, that's what they used to be doing. They come back in and buy a bit of bigger and better equipment. They're like, oh yeah, you get that automated fucking environmental controller there now, like after this harvest, happy days, I can reinvest back in, like you know, that's the kind of things we should be doing. Like, grow your own cannabis, like, and just create a little hobby, little community for yourselves. Don't be supporting this shit out there. Like, we don't know who the fuck is behind all of this cannabis, like where it came from. It could be one of these massive criminal gangs out there, like, who have got slaves doing the growing. No thanks. So we drive on from there then, guys, because, you know, outside of all of the wasted time and resources that goes on there within the system, you know, from our Gardaí seizing this, stopping, searching, you know, processing the paperwork, having to destroy it, all of that waste goes on, and they're happy to continue doing it. And then we see this was the headline that came out there today. Fears mount that the forensic lab backlog could derail drugs prosecutions. So again, guys, challenge the fucking charges. Don't make it easy for them. If you end up in court because of a cannabis possession case, ask for the evidence. You know what I mean? Ask for the evidence against you. Ask for a lab analysis. Tell them it was CBD. Even if it wasn't CBD, tell them it was CBD. Tell them you thought it was CBD. Challenge the charge. Get them to test it further than what they do. Because literally what they do is they get your cannabis sample, okay, a little bit of cannabis, and they put it into the reagent. They test positive for cannabis. That's it. That's their test. They're not actually, like, the sheet, I don't know where it is. It's in one of my drawers around here. But it was like, yes, my sample tested positive for cannabis. It didn't have any levels of THC, CBD or anything like that at all. It was just it tested positive for cannabis. So that tells me they're not doing a thorough investigation at all on the samples that they get, because basically the labs are backlogged. To basically take a piece of cannabis, to put it into a bit of a reagent and to get a colour change, that's simples. Any monkey can do that. Literally, it's probably automated. Like it's a simple process. But to do something like a HPLC, in order to determine if there is over the the allowed amount of THC in the sample, that takes time. That takes a person to go in, mix up buffers, standard solutions, mix in, do serial dilutions like that. That's time. That's time. They don't have. Look at this shit. They don't have it. This is a golden opportunity for us as a community, guys. If you get caught with cannabis, challenge the charges. In fact, go on further. Let's all go to the Garda station and hand in some CBD samples to get tested. Let's wreck their fucking heads. This is our opportunity, guys. Do you want cannabis legalized or not? They're telling you what to do. This is literally, do you know what I mean? This is like, what's that subliminal messages? That's what I'm telling you right now. This is subliminal messaging. They're saying, look, there's a massive backlog, guys. The court system is backlogged. The forensics labs are backlogged. Let's get on to Little Collins. Let's get on to Relief. Let's get on to Funky Skunk and any of the other CBD suppliers out there. And let's get them to support a campaign of civil disobedience where we get as many people as we can to go into the Garda stations in respect of this headline. Literally, like, the government have to engage on the issue. Imagine if you've got 20 people a day going into a Garda station with little samples of CBD, with even little flower pots. You know what I mean? Go in with your little hemp seedlings. Go in with your tiny little seedlings. That's time and resources that they do not have. They don't have it. They're literally telling us, look, actually, they're fucked. Like, let's break. This is the work. We are the straw that can now break the camel's back. Let's fucking bust this camel. Like, this camel is prohibition. Don't want this camel to live any longer. Sorry, I'm not all for harming animals, like, but you know what I mean? The proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back. Like, let's be it. This is it. This is our opportunity. I've been saying it all along. Like, the courts are backlogged, and now one further, the forensic labs are backlogged. Let's fuck them up, lads. Seriously, like, the power is in our hands right now. We can go out there and we could really mess with this system because they're broken. They're telling us now they can't keep up with what they're doing. They're literally telling us. So that means that if we put in any effort at all, we're going to see a massive, massive change. Literally, because the system is going to break. It's already at breaking point. Sorry. I knew I had it around there. 1 second. Yes. Can't prepare today. I got that old cotton mouth feeling. Oh, so let's see what's comments are coming in there. As we're 50 minutes into the stream, guys, we got over 40 of you out there tuned in. So much respect to all of you for tuning in. I see Podge still out there, and Bhagwan San. I love that name, man. Bhagwan San. Yes. Bhagwan San saying here, look at all that medicine being captured. So dangerous. Exactly. Like, do you know what I mean? Medicine, that's exactly what's going on there. How many people out there, as I say, are relying on the criminals to provide for them their relief from their chronic pain. Podge, what's going on? Podge saying here that sure, the chemical labs are full at the moment. They can't handle the flow of drugs to check. There you go. Like that. Like we as you say, Podge, man, they're full. We can now mess with the system. Like, if we just go in and have a massive campaign of civil disobedience, just go in there with seedlings, let's go in there with CBD samples, let's go in there with oregano, let's go in there with parsley, let's go in there with whatever we want, and let's say it's cannabis and they have to send it off now for testing, because we're going in and admitting a crime, and they have to follow up. They have to do their job. That's what they're fucking telling us all along. They have to do their job. Sure, let's make them do their job then. Who's with me, guys? Come on, like who's with me? Like if I organise a protest where we go to the Garda station with some CBD, and I'll provide the CBD, I'll provide the flowers. Let's say Saturday 2 weeks. Let's say Saturday the 12th of June. On a Saturday, I'll organise it. Let's do it in Cork City, the rebel county. Make your trip down. There'll be little baggies of CBD there available, and we'll march then from the Independence Monument there by just not far from the Cork City Library. It's a monument remembering the people who lay down their lives for freedom of this country. And we'll gather there. We'll hand out the cannabis. Yes, I will hand out the cannabis. I'll deal it out to you guys, but I'll give it to you for free. But we'll do that anyway. And then we'll march to the Garda station, and we'll all hand ourselves in with our little sample. And what we might do is we'll mix it up. We'll be like 50% CBD. There'll be, some of it will be oregano. You know, some of the baggies will contain oregano. Some of the baggies will contain a little bit of parsley. We'll mess with them. We'll just mess with them. You know what I mean? So there'll be half of the bags will actually be CBD. So there'll be only like half of you will actually be going in with a sample of cannabis. The others will have the decoys, the ones just direct our heads. Like, oh, God, lads, we could have some serious fun with this. Like, but you just have to be willing and unafraid. Unafraid, you know what I mean? Let's call their bluff. Like, look at this shit. Like, this headline speaks for itself, lads. Literally, like, this speaks for itself. Like, let's call their bluff now. They can't lock us all up. They can't even fucking test all of our samples. Never mind say lock us all up. Imagine ending up in court over a flower. Yeah, go in there with a few daisies and say, I think this is cannabis. Can you send it off for some testing there for me? Because I think I grew a drug. Shouting in a bucket says, grind up a few nettles, put it in a nice baggie and ask them to test it. Exactly, like, you know, like a few nettles and all, like, get it in there, like some Cork nettles. That'll sting them, won't it? Yes. Yeah, Mustawa says, here, sweet, cops have shot themselves in the foot. Definitely, like, but again, like, what they're doing here, like, is they're calling for increase in their budget. This is what they're calling for. Like, this is all mounting now. Look, we've had an increase in the amount of drugs that are being detected and picked up now. So we need more money. That's what they're really leading up for. They didn't realise what they're doing is giving ammunition to activists like myself to go out there and encourage people to protest. What they were doing with this was trying to get more money from the government, you know, come budget time and stuff like that next year. Hey, look, we can't even keep up with the old drug testing. We need more money there, like, you know. Karan C says you might as well stick a full-grown plant up there. Lads, you know what was funny last year at the protest in the Fitzgerald skate park, down by the Fitzgerald skate park? They came for the microphone and the speaker first. That's what they were more important. They were more interested in. And then when they came down, they seen the cannabis plant. There was a massive, like, 3-foot cannabis plant down there at the protest, and they came for the speaker and the microphone first. And then they were like, "Oh shit, we better take this plant too." Actually, it's our voice. Our voices are more powerful. Like, you know, that's what they want to take away from us. Like, so let's not let them take it away, and let's not let them take away our rights any longer than what they already have done it for. Hype TCK says they'd arrest you for attempted street robbery with bags full of nettles if they'd nothing to be at. Yeah, definitely. Alright, so let's drive on with the other headlines that are out there, because we're done with the raids in Ireland anyway. Thank God for that. So in the final headline that I have for you actually today, guys, it comes from Michigan. And it's one where in Michigan there was some controversy over the weekend after an interview aired where the CEO of what's it actually called, the Michigan Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association. Sorry, getting bloody all tongue tied here now with that one. The Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association. Yeah, I got the T that time. But basically, the CEO of that organization came out in an interview and said that there needs to be more regulations put in place around the caregivers association out there. And basically, if you don't know, over in Michigan, when cannabis was, I suppose while it was illegal, there was a lot of people growing cannabis illegally for quite a time that were campaigning to be allowed to grow cannabis because they were doing it for people, for compassion, you know, people suffering with chronic pain, people with suffering with cancer, epilepsy, you know, a glaucoma, whatever it might be that a person was suffering with. They had this kind of compassionate system set up where first, they allowed caregivers to be in place, where basically a caregiver was allowed to grow 6 plants for up to 5 patients each. So a caregiver, and if the caregiver themselves was also a patient, that effectively meant they could grow 72 plants, 6 plants for each patient, I believe it was. 72 plants anyway, I think it was the maximum they were able to grow. But basically, this guy came out and said, anyway, there needs to be tighter regulations in place. And now the other organisations out there in support of the caregivers have put out basically this infographic. And this infographic highlights a number of companies that are affiliated with the Medical Cannabis Manufacturers Association there of Michigan, the Marijuana Cannabis Manufacturers Association of Michigan. That's what it stands for, MCMA. But there's quite a number of them, and I was surprised to actually see DNA genetics up there. I've kind of talked about DNA genetics a couple of times on the show before. So it's unfortunate. Basically, what this CEO is actually calling for is it would see these caregivers have to get in line with the regulations, much like the others out there in the commercial market. He believes that some of the caregivers are illegitimate caregivers and they're basically taking advantage of the caregiver system, which probably could happen, you know what I mean? But then you think of, you know, you're punishing the 99% of caregivers who are not abusing the system for the 1% who are abusing the system. It's quite a large system over there actually in the state, where the state records showed there are about 30,000 caregivers serving more than 250,000 patients. And this is outside of the $1 billion licensed retail market in Michigan. So the CEO, it seems that he's getting rather greedy. You know, $1 billion market is not enough for him. He wants it to grow, and he sees these caregivers now as taking a slice of his pie. And the guy, you know, he's not unwilling to stoop so low as to, you know, punish fucking legitimate caregivers in trying to get back what he sees as his slice of the pie. So shaming him and shaming any company that allies with people like this. If any of these companies up there, you know, want to get off of this list, I hope they distance themselves and become unaffiliated with this MCMA, the Marijuana or Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association. Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association. Hopefully they want to distance themselves from it. So again, you know, this is what we have to look out for here in Ireland. These guys don't want us to be able to grow our own cannabis. Be mindful of that. You know, when they come in lobbying here, they don't want to see us to be able to grow our own. And I keep on saying this, these outside companies coming in here, like, it's up to us. It's up to us from the ground up, you know what I mean? A grassroots network of people all working together to undo the silly prohibition that keeps us from this bloody very valuable plant. So guys, that is it there from today's 420 news. Much appreciated to everybody who's after tuning in today. And again, thanks very much to the sponsor of today's show, R420.ie. Much appreciated. I see R420 was out there in the comments earlier as well. I don't know if you're listening above there in the store lives, but if you are, greetings, happy Monday. It's almost ending. I hope you have a lovely evening after a hard day's work above there in the store. And to any customers that might be in the store right now, hi guys. So again, guys, much appreciated for all your comments. I see so many bloody comments out there as well. The audience growing ever as the days go on. So much appreciated, guys. Other comments coming in. Daily Talker saying here there are very few excuses for not growing your own. Everyone should be grown, even if it's a little autoflower on a windowsill. That you're dead right. And do you know what, guys? Today is the last day of May, and it's not too late to start your flowers. Like, so, get down to your local grow shop, support local, get yourself some nice autoflowers, and get yourself growing. Like, simple. Like, it's nothing. Like, it literally is. As Daily Talker is saying, get yourself an autoflower seed, pop it up in the windowsill, and if you don't have nosy neighbours, and get it going. Like, the worst that can happen, like, is it doesn't grow, like, or possibly you get caught growing it. But look, that's another problem. But don't believe that you can't grow your own cannabis because you haven't done it before. Like, it's simple, and the best way to learn how to do it is by literally just doing it. Like, grow your own, and you won't regret it at all. Ooh, bowl packed up there now. I look forward to me run. Had dinner there. I normally have like a 4 hour rule before going out and doing any bit of exercise, but I ate there at 3 o'clock. It's 5:30 now, so I might wait around just another 20 minutes or so, like, because I cramp up real bad if I go running too close to have eaten a bit of a meal. But one more bowl anyway, and a few more comments, and we'll get going. Sorry, I'm not frozen. Just looking through your comments there. Aaron J. Byrne says, "Hey Martin, when's the next podcast?" Aaron, I actually have an interview that I done there with Amy Brown, and apologies, guys, for not getting that one out to you. I have procrastinated like a motherfucker on that one. It's still sitting there waiting to just go through the old editing process, just to stick a few logos onto it and stuff. But I will get it out there to you very soon. Myself and Amy sat down in the old studio there last week, and we moved the studio, made it a bit more roomier, and we had an old chat. The camera angle wasn't really great, so I'm thinking of maybe just releasing it with some images attached to it rather than using the video, because it just looks shit. But nice one, yeah. That should be out there very soon anyway. Like, give me 24 hours, please. What's going on out there? Joe Hartnett says, "Up the volume there, Martin." Apologies, actually, if my volume is a bit low, is it? I didn't realise that at all. Yeah, Dan saying here, Greens are never getting my vote again. Me neither, certainly not. Miss Dowis here has, Nessa is the only person that's at all decent in the Green Party. Even still, nobody should vote for them. Says it all, really, doesn't it, Miss Dowis? Yeah, I see there. Aaron as well saying, was wondering when the next one with a guest was going to be on. Certainly going to be doing more there to get more guests on as well very soon. Daily Talker says, "These people make me want to hit something when the way they speak on, yeah, the way they speak." Joe Hartnett says the Canadian model actually works. Yeah, that's it. The Canadian model is a bit better, but I think take the one from 2021 rather than one that they actually started with, because it's been a work in progress for them over there. They definitely messed it up initially, but they are making amends now for themselves since. But yeah, the Canadian is certainly a good one to be looking over at. The New York policy as well is a good piece of legislation that could be looked at also. So there is definitely very good models out there that could be looked at, much better than Amsterdam anyway. I see many people out there, Bogwan Sun, saying actions speak louder than words. Definitely. Shouting in a bucket says, "I am a Schedule 1 drug. I will activate my DMT gland with my enhanced breathing techniques to escape this ridiculous reality." Yes, love it. Shiting in a bucket. I actually was doing a bit of holotropic reading while I was in the holding cell. When I was held for the 5 days in the prison. They were just wondering what the fuck is that guy doing, and they're hyperventilating. Good times, bad memories, but good times. Podge 85 says, "Look at how our government won't even help fishermen, even when attacked on the water. They are selling out the country." Bang on, man. That's right. There was fishermen had their boat attacked there when they were approaching an illegally fishing Spanish fishing vessel off the coast of Cork. Actually, I believe it was it, or off the coast of Ireland anyway. There, only over the weekend. And feck all was done about it. They went out, they questioned the Irish fishermen, but in the meantime, the Spanish guys kind of cut their nets, leaving miles of netting there now, littering the Irish waters. And the boys are off fishing again illegally now in their own waters, and the Irish Navy have done nothing about it. The Spanish Fishing Authority are doing nothing about it either. Horrible, like, that's ridiculous that they're getting away with all of this stuff. And we heard then from the authorities, we have to do our job, we have to uphold the law, but only certain laws, only laws that kind of affect the small people out there, like, because we can't really be dealing with the Spanish fishing vessels going in, because, like, geez, that's going to be a pain in the arse. 6 miles inside our waters. Yeah, I heard it was even up to maybe 11 miles inside our waters, or maybe that was 11 kilometers actually. Maybe mixing up the miles and kilometers there. Who knows? But yeah. There's two-tier system out there, man. They're selective about what rules they want to actually enforce. You see how they're treating Little Collins, like, when it comes to their one. They don't really want to enforce the European rules, but they'll enforce Irish rules. Funny one. That brown piece of paper is probably there to hide the table to lock it more. Podge 85, sure, the chemical labs are full at the moment. Yeah, that's it. And Shite in the Bucket says, sure, they are not getting caught with their hands, never touch the products. Their hands never touch the products. Yeah, that's the big guys. Other comments out there, guys. Just see a load of comments out there. So nice one, guys, for all your comments. Is Terra on the poster the same Terra as in Canna Terra Nutrients Soil? On what poster is that? I didn't see any poster, but maybe that's to somebody else. Mistawa says, anybody know of plastic weed plants being sold in Ireland? I can see them in the UK, all right, but would be great for protesting. Yeah, that's true. I seen you can get them all right on, like, Amazon. I think have dummy cannabis plants, all right, plastic ones, and some of them come with flowers and things like that. Props, that's what they're called, prop cannabis plants. If anybody is looking to buy some, I don't think there's any for sale in Ireland. But maybe Martin's World might start stocking them. Who knows? And Podge there is looking for Green Bear to be drinking his bong water. Man, why? Lads, why would you do such a thing? No way. Even this was cleaned this morning. Like, you know what I mean? I cleaned that this morning, and not giving away how much I've been smoking. But I left it in the sunshine as well earlier on, so I probably should have changed it before coming up here. But look. Fresh water for me, thank you very much. Pods 4420 says the Greens had those policies about drugs before the last election. The bottom line is all politicians do is lie. There you go. Don't be fooled by them again. Vote independent, guys. Vote a person who you can hopefully trust from your community. A person from the community who wants to actually go out there and represent the community, much like I did that time when I ran. I didn't think I was actually going to get elected, but should I have got elected, I would have done my best to represent people who would have felt much like myself, very much unrepresented in the government, should I have gotten elected. And that's exactly how I will behave as well if I ever do get elected in any forthcoming elections, because again, I will run should an election be announced in the morning. do definitely expect that name and content on the ballot paper in Cork North Central. And I encourage more people out there as well, guys. Definitely exercise your rights to run in elections. Like, you know, if you've got views and opinions, and if you don't feel that they're being represented by the current bunch of candidates in your electoral area, then run yourself. Like, fuck it. Like, you got nothing to lose. Like, it only takes, like, in Ireland, all you got to do is go out and get 30 people to go to the Garda station who are registered to vote, and registered to vote in the area you're looking to run in, the electoral area that you're looking to run in. They have to be registered in that constituency, and then basically you need 30 of them, and you run in the election for free. You can hopefully then get interviewed by the media and things like that, get your fair share of airtime like the other candidates do also, and get your points out there and make your issues heard too. Exercise their rights, your rights, like, you know, people died for them, you know what I mean? So again, just a reminder, guys, 2 weeks time, June 12th, I said, wasn't it? Or June 15th. Jeez, no, that's May 15th. Yeah, June 12th. June 12th, so are we up for a protest? Cork City, 2 weeks, Saturday, 2 weeks. Saturday week. Jeez, man. Saturday week, are we down for it? Who's down? I'm down anyway. I'm going to do a protest anyway, and if people want to join me, you're all more than welcome. I'm going to protest right now, and you're welcome to join me on this one too, guys. Podgy's bong water is 2 weeks old now. That's got to be rank. I hope he's not even smoking from that, dude. No. That's so bad, like. That's a health hazard, like. Guy could die. Cannabis consumer dies from drinking bong water. Don't do it, but Green Bird. Alright, guys, blazing on up anyway. Civil disobedience protest live here on air. And I see our Podge was actually trying to organise a little meetup as well, guys, over on Reddit. And I went back to see if there was any updates on that or any comments, but I see the comment or the post was taken down by a moderator over there. So I don't know what the crack is with people, but maybe next weekend, if people are around, bit of biking or something like that, we could meet up at Ballyhora Mountain Bike Trail, which is one spot. But to be very honest, guys, if we were to go this weekend and you were to ring today, they're probably booked out, man. That's a very busy spot. If you're looking to rent bikes up there, that is. If you've got your own bike and you're willing to bring it along, then by all means do. But that's just one idea. I'm not too sure. Like, but Podge was trying to organise a bit of a kind of a social event there where people can kind of meet up, have an old talk, and go do something fun together then as well at the same time, you know. Doesn't always have to be fucking so serious with these protests and going into Garda stations as well. So it would be fun to get something like that organised, something a bit less serious, like, but I suppose still our community coming together and congregating like that is a protest in and of itself, but we can have fun while doing it. So I'm open to suggestions there from people, like, you know, I just threw out one there as the Ballyhora biking gaff, like, but if somebody could come up with something better and we could organise it before maybe Saturday or Sunday, let's make it fucking happen, like. Even there's an old water park there as well, in Ballyhass there, below there in Coachford. Put on the old wetsuit there and head out onto the old inflatable and have a bit of crack. But again, that one books up fairly fast, but I think the old 4:20 sessions, even though they actually only do 4 o'clock and 4:30s, they don't do 4:20, they might make an exception for us. We pay them a little extra. Come here, let us go on there at 4:20. Let us bring our bong with us. But again, you know what I mean? We can have some fun with this. We can create a good, strong, tight-knit community, and have some fun social protesting events as well. So yeah, just bang our heads together, guys. Let's make something fun happen. So again, Much appreciated, everybody out there, for all your comments coming through. Um, Jason Lee here saying that I didn't realize you ran. I'll vote you number one if I could. Much appreciated. Nice one for that, Jason. Legend. John Finnegan also saying, I think he was talking about the list on the MCA thing. Greenbeard has whiskey in his bong. Yuck, lads, yuck, drinking bong water. Feck's sake. Monshore Fudge saying here that autos have been a pain in my ass. Any general strain hasn't had any issue with auto flowers at 3 weeks from seed. €1 top bud. Yeah, autos can definitely be a bit of a problem at times if you're not getting good genetics to start with. So always go to a reliable seed breeder. But at the same time, even then, they could be problematic even for the best, or even for good growers. They can be a bit touchy. But at the same time, the only benefit is at least you don't have to be messing around with the photo periods. Like that's the most beneficial thing about the old autoflowers, is not having to deal with the old 12-12. Yeah, Monshore Fudge there saying, love that flood in the CBD. Jason Lee saying that best to have separate bags with receipts, so no charges. Still needs to get tested. Some people can't afford charges as much as we support the cause. Yeah, I totally understand that, all right. And if you can't afford it, like if you can't be risking a criminal conviction, then definitely, like, I wouldn't be forcing anybody or judging anybody who can take part in this. But what I would be asking people to do is definitely get involved in it if you at all can. Nice one, Martin. Check the Pussbook stream. Fecker's messing with it. Balls, I didn't know about that at all. I'll have to look at that. Yeah. John Finnegan also saying, summer coming around, anyone interested in Canna Camp, go to the woods and camp out, do some bushcraft and things. That's a good idea. That's a good idea for maybe July kind of time. Pick out a good area and, a bunch of us get together. A nice eco-friendly camping experience. Bring home more rubbish that we brought with us. Clean up the area that we visit. If we find any rubbish there, bring it home. Leave it better than what we found it. That should be our motto. And yeah, let's have a good time. Cannabis, campfires, songs. You know what I mean? Just good company. I'm all for that. I think was it Donegal or was it the Legendary Cannabis Club? I can't remember which one of them it was, above there in the north anyway of Ireland. They held that weed stock. Well, that was the name of their event, weed stock, and a bunch of them got together. They went camping in the sand dunes, and it seemed like they had a great old time. Like, so we could definitely make something like that happen. Like, and have a good old crack for ourselves. Count me in and the kids in for that cycle. Keep us updated. Yeah, definitely. I'll certainly be looking for that one as well. Hopefully we can get something going on up there, maybe Sligo. Hype TCK saying Jorenrell Amusement Park. Is that the one in Holland? Is that the one in Holland? I'm not too sure now, actually, if that's the Holland one. Quick search there, and I won't be long answering me question. Yeah, Holland. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's a good old spot we can all meet up in. I'm not against that at all, man. Let's meet up there. Yeah, that's what you're saying. There's a water park with a campsite 30 minutes from Amsterdam. Let's fucking do it, lads. Some great ideas coming in there, lads. Loving it. Podge is saying there, yeah, not sure why the post was deleted on Reddit. Was only asking if anyone be interested. Yeah, I think they have issues with meetups. I think if you organise a protest up there, they're okay. But if you call it like a meetup, I think they're like maybe thinking you're dealing or some shit like that. Like, So I don't know, man. They're a bit of a funny bunch over there at the best of times. I threw up a poster earlier asking if anybody was willing to get involved in a protest at Frank Fian's office. Um, I'm not too sure if anybody has interacted at all with it. Um, Quickly swing on over there now and see what's actually happening with it. Got 3 comments up there. What's going on up there? Where are we meeting up so it can make a change? Where's Sligo? We can get a few banners and a few poster ideas going, maybe a few volunteers to organise a group chat for location and time, etc. Somebody here saying, I live in County Sligo, have lived in town and his hometown. Would need big numbers for the local media to not frame it as a joke, a bad thing, a waste of time. He definitely won't be in the office on a Saturday. It's a few steps from the Garda station. He's petty and would have no problem ringing the cops if he was there. Traffic would pass, but little foot traffic, and cars always have the head down, obeying all the rules of the road if they have to go that way to the cop shop. Local people might be afraid to support it. There's always someone driving through town. 3 degrees of separation would be generous. Yeah, interesting input there. All right, there was only 3 comments from it so far. But seems like people are alright and interested. But yeah, that was something I was suggesting there for Frank Fian's office. That's another protest I'm looking to organise on the 26th of June. That's a provisional date I'm throwing out there, but Frank Fian's office is above there in Sligo. Now, at the same time, if anybody out there is in Sligo and if you're aware of the Sligo cycle campaign, if you're aware of any events upcoming, and if you think Frank Fian is going to be attending them, get in touch with me, give me a heads up, and I'll get my bike ready, and we'll meet Frank there. I think that's another great opportunity to hold a little protest at one of those cycling events above in Sligo as part of the Sligo cycling campaign. Take part in some cannabis themed clothing, you know what I mean? Let's stop off at r420.ie, and he might get us some cannabis costumes. Good to stock up in them now, maybe actually before the Halloween period rolls around. There's an old tip for you. If you're still listening above there in the store, it's 5:45 now. You're probably after packing up and getting ready to head home. But Jason Lee says, I have a van too. If anyone needs a bike brought, keep us updated. Seriously, nice one. Not a bother at all. That's good. Look, the community is already forming. Look, we should definitely put something together. Maybe get a little group going and have a proper chat about that. I see you're over there on Facebook. I'll see what we can do there. Onshore Fudge saying, I've worked on that Dutch campsite for years. Can get us all a good deal. No issues. Derail, that's what it's called. DYNRELL. That's a good idea. Like, I'm not too sure what the crack is around travel restrictions between Ireland and Holland at the moment, but fuck it, like, let's make that happen. Like, let's have a quick look at Google flights at the moment, like, and see what the prices are coming in from Dublin to Amsterdam. Just for the crack, like, Dublin to Amsterdam, Schiphol. Let's just say in July. Man, in July, return flights are costing like less than 60 quid. 60 quid at the moment for return flights to Holland from Dublin Airport. Like, that's fucking for nothing. Like, and sure, if Monshore gets us an old group deal there, we'll camp out above there and have a gay old time, as they say on the Flintstones. Monshore, we'll be in touch, man. We'll make something happen. I think July is a good month, or even into August. I know more people kind of get holidays there in August, and sure, the flights in August are. Sure, they're only cheaper. They're only cheaper in August. So definitely, like, let's make this shit happen. So guys, look, for fear of making this go on any longer than it needs to, I've really enjoyed interacting with all of you out there, guys. Much appreciated for all your comments. Forgive me if I did miss any of your comments earlier on, as when I get back to my comment feed here through the bloody lab, the Streamlabs software, I don't get to see all of the older comments, which is something I have to work around soon and come up with a better system. I need to get a better system in place to improve the show and the production value and all of that stuff, to give you better value for your time. But really do appreciate it, guys. All of the comments coming in, and all of the likes, shares, and comments. Wink, wink, and judge. If you forgot to do it, guys, get it done. But I will be back with more 420 news, guys, on Wednesday. So until then, guys, keep it lit, and stay blazed and keep it lit. Much love. Peace.